Today's going to be a bit of a different video. I know that the format's going to change and Standard 2022 tomorrow will no longer exist. So what I'm going to do instead is go over some of the cards that I found interesting in the new set. Starting with Lunar Frenzy. Target creature you control gets +X+0, gains first strike and trample until end of turn. It's an instant. What I like about this card is generally a lot of these first strike instant cards are like pay 1 in a red, it gets +1/+0 and first strike. This is a lot more flexible, you can make it a lot bigger, and the trample makes it go hit your opponent. So this is a good way to finish the game, a good way to kill a creature. I don't know if it's going to see that much play, but it's a lot better than what we've seen in the past with this style of card when they add the X in. Next we got Sunset Rovery, 1 and a white for a sorcery. If an opponent has more life than you, you gain 4 life. If he controls more creatures than you, create 2 1/1 human creature tokens. And if it has more cards than you, then draw a card. So this is, I think this is a good control card, especially in a mirror matchup where maybe on purpose you let your opponent keep a creature down that you don't kill, and that deals you some damage, so that triggers the first 2, and maybe you know, this is the second or third spell you play in the turn, so you almost empty your hand and then you draw a card too. A really good value play, probably more of a sideboard card, but I do like this card. We've seen a card like this before and it wasn't that popular, but it looks fun. A lot of words for 2 mana. Alright, foul play, destroy a creature with power 2 or less and investigate. This is a good way to and it's a sorcery, which is a bummer. If it was an instant, this would be great. But this is a good way to gain value back after killing a creature. Alright, we got Lunar Veteran, 1 white. He's got the dual. He transforms 1/1 human cleric. Whenever a creature you control enters the battlefield, you gain a life. And disturb, you can bring him back. Why I like this one is disturb is really cheap. It's only 2. A lot of these other ones, like the other 1 mana white, his disturb is 4, and with white decks you don't necessarily get that far. I think this card can fit into the life gain deck really easily. It's nice because after they wipe your board, you can bring this guy back. He's hard to block. All right, next card, Brutal Cather. He's a lot like a Skyclave apparition. So 2 and a white for 2/2. When he enters the battlefield or transforms into Brutal Cather, exile a creature your opponent controls until this creature leaves the battlefield. So he comes in, he exiles a creature. Maybe next turn you don't play any spells, becomes a first strike with ward for 3. And you know, he can transform real easy in a white deck because there's a lot of times where you double spell, you can transform back and exile yet another creature. I like this card. I think it will see play. Oh, and the nice thing, I don't know, maybe it's not nice, but sometimes when you kill the apparition and it leaves a token, it's really annoying. This one won't leave a token. It will give them their creature back though, which could be worse. Flesh Taker. You gain life and scry 1 whenever you sacrifice another creature. Pay 1, sacrifice another creature. Flesh Taker gets +2/+2 until end of turn. I like this card. I think this card can work in sacrifice decks, and real similar to the green and white. Whenever you gain a life, you scry 1. Put a 1/1 counter on it. I think this card will be useful in the same way. Maybe better in historic. Primal Adversary, a 4/3 trample for 3. That's pretty good right there. Then when Primal Adversary enters the battlefield, you may pay 1 and a green any number of times. When you pay this cost 1 or more times, put that many 1/1 counters on Primal Adversary, and up to that many target lands you control become 3/3 wolf creature tokens with haste that are still lands. I think this would go great in the Simic ramp deck. The 3/3 wolf tokens won't get bounced by the not Certainland Summoner. The 7/7 giant, I forgot what his name was. He returns everything except for wizards and giants, but anyway, and lands. So he wouldn't return those lands, and then you could play this again to make even more lands, 3/3s. Or just play it for 5, you got 8 power worth. Pay it for 7, you get 11 power worth in 3 bodies. So I really like this card. Actually, it'd be 12 because you put the 1/1 counters on him. So yeah, I like that card. One of my favorite in the set. Don't think it's the best, but I really like it. All right, Tainted Adversary. I'm just showing him because they really push zombies in this set, and this is one of those examples. He's 1, 2, 3 for 1 and a black with Death Touch. When it enters the battlefield, you may pay 2 and a black any number of times. Put that many 1/1 counters on Tainted Adversary and create twice that many black zombie creatures. So for 5, you're creating a 3/4 and then 2 2/2s. They do have Decayed, but still nice. Alright, see, all the adversaries are, I really like all of them. 1 in a red for 2/2 haste. Okay, that's fine on its own. Maybe not for competitive, but it almost gets you there. And then when it enters the battlefield, you may pay 2 in a red any number of times. When you pay this cost 1 or more times, put that many 1/1 counters on Bloodthirsty Adversary, then exile up to that many instant or sorcery cards of mana value 3 or less from your graveyard and copy them. You may cast any number of copies without paying their mana cost. Okay, so let's say you pay this for 5. You grab a shock or something out of your graveyard. So for 5, you get a 3/3 haste and you're dealing damage, possibly destroying a creature. I like it. I think it's a good late game for mono red that's not goblins, and a good early game. I think this will see play. Intrepid Adversary. This is one of the better ones. This goes great in the lifelink deck. It's a 3/1 for 1 and a white lifelink. When it enters the battlefield, you may pay 1 and a white any number of times. Put that many counters on it. Creatures you control get +1/+1. So you pay this for 4. He doesn't get +1/+1 counters like the other ones, but he boosts everything. So you pay for 4. You got a 4/2 lifelink, and all your other creatures are boosted. I think it's great. It has an impact on the turn it comes in if you do pay the extra cost, or you can just pay it as a 3/1 early game, especially if you're playing against control. You get in 3 damage, gain 3 life. Alright, Liar. Disciple of the Drowned. Spells can't be countered. It's a 3/4 for 5. Each instant and sorcery card in your graveyard has flashback. The flashback cost is equal to that card's mana cost. I like this in the Simic Ramp deck, almost like a balancer. So you play this and your opponent can't counter your Elrond's Epiphanies. So if you're playing the non-counter version, this works really well. Lets you play sorceries from your graveyard. This is a good card, and I also think you can go in the Dragons deck. You can play this. Actually, I think it's better in the Dragons deck for that exact reason. Anyway, next card, Wrenn and 7. Good in the Simic Ramp deck. Reveal the top 4 cards of your library. Put all land cards revealed this way in your hand and the rest into your graveyard. Pretty good. Usually draw 1 or 2 from the +1. He's got high loyalty too, by the way. Put any number of land cards from your hand onto the battlefield tapped. Nice. Create a Tree Folk token with reach, and this creature's power and toughness are equal to the number of lands you control. I like that. I think it's better than the Mordenkainen dog. So, the Mordenkainen dog costs 2. -8, return all permanent cards from your graveyard to your hand. You get an emblem with you have no maximum hand size. Yeah, I love this card. I don't know how good it's going to be. I think it's playable, but yeah, one of my favorites. I love Planeswalkers. Smoldering Egg can work really well on a spells deck. 0/4 Defender for 2. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, put a number of Ember counters on Smoldering Egg equal to the amount of mana spent to cast that spell. Then if it has 7 or more Ember counters on it, remove it and transform it to a 4/4 flying. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, deals 2 damage to any target. So this can go really well in the Izzet Spells deck. Play 1 Elrond's Epiphany, it changes into this, and then next turn you you can attack with this. Maybe cast another Elrond's Epiphany, use the 2 damage at face or wherever. Yeah, this is a nice combo-y spell. Looks real fun. Alright, now we got a Sweeper. A Sweeper for a creature deck. Why for a creature deck? Well, it's X and 2 black. When it enters the battlefield, each creature gets -X until end of turn. Great against white. Whenever a creature you control dies, each opponent loses 1 life. Got a bunch of tokens, a bunch of pest, boom. Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, you gain 1 life. So not only are you killing all their stuff, but you're gaining a bunch of life and dealing them damage. Hopefully your creature's dying. Either you want it to happen or it's better than them staying alive and opponent's creature staying alive. But I think this deck will, this card will see some play. Fateful Absence. Destroy target creature or planeswalker instant in white. Its controller investigates. Good way to finish the game for white. You got one creature you gotta get out of the way for lethal. Boom. And last but not least, Unnatural Growth. At the beginning of each combat, double the power and toughness of each creature you control until end of turn. Will this go good in the mono green deck? I don't know. It's gonna throw this down, you have 3 creatures out, it becomes a nightmare for your opponent. Anyway, that's the cards that I like from Innistrad. Comment below what cards you liked and what card do you think is going to be the best card in the set. I don't know if I put out a card that I think is a slam dunk for best in the set. Take a quick look. So far this is the best. That could be the best card. I doubt it, but we'll see. Anyway, this is Pablo out. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please comment, like, and subscribe, and I will see you tomorrow.